Hi, Christo and Megan. This is Uncle Herb. I'm making stew for you this morning. I'm going to start first of all with the ingredients. You want a pound of stew meat, a cup of onions, a cup of frozen green beans, a cup of frozen corn, a cup of frozen peas, a cup of carrots, and a cup of celery. In addition, take about 3 or 4 little white rose potatoes and section them up, or you can use a full russet potato. Okay, then, and the last thing we're going to do, we're going to put in is some mushrooms, and we'll do that in just a little bit. But now what we want to do is we want to take the meat, the pound of meat, put it in a quart bag, and then we're going to flour it with the cubes of stew meat. I'm putting some flour in the bag. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to close that up. Let's see if I'm smart enough to get that closed. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that all of the meat gets floured. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, now the next step is you have your electric fry pan, or if you have a regular large soup pan, what you do is get it heated up with some olive oil. Okay, we're going to put enough olive oil in there, or Wesson oil, or whatever oil that you have, so that we can go ahead and brown the meat. Now if you watch here, I'm going to go ahead and take this, I'm going to move it around. You'll do that with your pan anyhow, whatever you use, to make sure that the bottom is covered. Okay, you want to put the heat up initially at high. You're going to turn it down to medium when it browns so you don't burn the meat. All you want to do is brown it. Now I'm going to take the meat. Okay, now I'm not going to pour all of this in there because we don't want all that extra flour. I'm going to reach in. Okay. Spread it in there. See, I'm shaking off as much of the flour as I can. Okay, I used about a cup of flour to cover the meat. Okay, you can see that the meat is browned. You don't want it burned. You want to make sure it is cooked, and then we're going to put in some liquid, which is some beef broth that you can buy in the store. Okay, one of the things that I forgot to tell you from the beginning, when you get your quarter pound of, or your pound of meat, to cube it. Okay, we're going to use this whole container here, 1 container of beef broth. Okay, let me just get this, all the beef broth in there. Okay.
And you forgot to tell them the meat is supposed to be cut into...
I already just said that a minute ago.
No, you
Yes,
started to say it
I said
and
it
you
was
didn't
cubed.
finish.
Okay, well, okay, I've got a little help here.
Sorry.
Not a problem.
Duke's getting in the way.
Okay, now we want to make sure that that beef broth starts to boil. Okay, when that starts to boil, we know we're going. Okay. So we're going to let that cook up a little bit. Okay, now you can see that the beef broth in the meat is boiling. What we're going to do is we're going to add our potatoes. We're going to add all the rest of our ingredients. Going to scoop them right in there. Okay, peas. Okay, all the ingredients are going in there. Okay. Turn this around. We're going to put all of our corn and our carrots and our onions. Okay. Now you have an option if you want. Later on you can add a little wine to this if you want. Okay, a little red wine. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to check it for seasoning here in a little bit to find out if we need some bouillon, and we probably will. We always do. And I'm going to get a spoon. Do a little taste test to see what it tastes like. We need a little bouillon. And we're probably going to add a little bit more beef broth. So when you do go to the store, get 2 beef broths. What I'm using is beef bouillon here from Knorr. Okay, I'm going to put 2 in to start with. You may want to put later on, it depends on your salty taste. Depends on. Now the last thing I'm going to put in here after the bouillon, and a little bit more bouillon, may add that a little bit later. There's a little pepper.
Or a lot of pepper.
Okay, we're going to stir it up. Okay, we're going to let this cook. I would say for about, half hour. You want to check it now and then to see how much fluid's left, juice, because you may have to put some more broth in there. And instead of using a can of broth, if you don't want to use this, you can take the bouillon cubes, boil them in water, in hot water, and put them in there and add them to that. Now the last thing I'm going to add, and I do this just before, I don't want these to wilt too much, I'm going to put the mushrooms in about a half an hour. Okay, so that's kind of basic. Remember one thing, this is kind of what my dad used to call a slumgullion. You throw everything together and let it cook. There's no way you can make a mistake with this. The key to it is browning the meat and adding the bouillon and the flavoring, okay, so that you get it to your flavor. Now, if you're one of these, once in a while, want to put some Tabasco in there later on, you can do that after it's done. Don't put it in with your initial stew. Now, I'm going to cover this up and let it cook for about 30 minutes. Take a check on it and see if we need to add any more juice. Now, if you notice, I'm leaving just a little bit on the top. If you use the top on your soup pan to let some of the steam out. We want it to thicken up a little bit and get some flavor. Okay. Okay guys, we're about 15 minutes into the stew, and one of the things I want you to do is make sure that you stir it now and then so it doesn't stick. You can see the consistency right now. We've got a heavier stew. Some people don't like it that heavy. Some like it a little bit more liquid, and we still want to get the flavors. So I'm going to add just a little tiny bit more of liquid. Okay, about 1/4 cup. Okay, and you want to make sure that you have turned it down too when it was boiling down to where it's simmered. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to add one other ingredient. Okay, right now, and that's mushrooms. And a lot of people say, well, why don't you dice them up? You don't dice them up. You want them whole. We're going to throw those right in there. I'm going to dump as many as I can in there without using them all. Have a few left over. Okay, we're going to stir those in. Okay. We're going to let that cook for another 10 minutes. I'm just looking at the consistency, and I think I am going to put a little more broth in there. Okay. This is one of those things where you can't make a mistake on this. All you do is just let it cook, and you season it to taste, either with salt or pepper, or you can put additional bouillon in there. I will check it and see what it's like here in a little while, and we'll get back to you with a finished product. And like I say, this is dinner in a half hour. Okay, you two, here's the finished product. Take a good look. Okay, now you can have it a little thicker if you want, with a little more cooking. You don't want to overcook it. Like I say, a maximum of 30 minutes. After you've added maybe a little bit more bouillon. And what's nice about this stew, you can add more carrots, more potatoes, more meat. They're giving you the basic stuff. If you want more meat, use 2 pounds of stew meat. But it's really a quick meal and a hearty meal, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know what happened, okay? Let's see if I did a good job in teaching you how to make basic beef stew. Take it easy. God bless both of you, and let us know what's going on. See you later. Bye.